Torah reading continues on page 51, verse number 8.
Baruch Hu es Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Baruch Abanu Mikol Ha'amim Ve'nos Lanu Es Toraso Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim el Noach lebanav ito lemor. Vani hineni mekim et brititchem letzarchem acharechem ve'et kol nefesh achaya asher itchem ba'ov v'behema v'chol chayat haaretz itchem mikol yotzei hativa lechol chayat haaretz Akimoti et briti itchem v'lo yikaret kol basar od mimei mabul v'lo yod mabul shachet haaretz vayomer Elohim zodot habrit asher ani noten beni u'enechem u'ven kol nefesh chaya sheitchem לדורות עולם את קשתי נתתי בענן והייתה לעוד ברית ביני ובין הארץ והיה בענני ענן הארץ ונראתה קשת בענן ראתה קשת בענן וזכרתי את בריתי אשר ביני וביניכם ובין כל נפש חיה בכל בשר ולא יעוד המים למבול לשחט כל בשר והייתה קשת בענן וראיתיה לזכור ברית עולם בין אלוהים ובין כל נפש חיה בכל בשר של הארץ ויאמר אלוהים אל נוח זאת הברית אשר קימותי ביני ובין כל בשר אשר על הארץ.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Nosa Lanu Torah Shemesh Chayei Olam L'Tabes V'cheinu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Saul, you can join me over here on this side of the bima. Saul Leff is celebrating his 96th birthday with us this morning, and if you have a second bar mitzvah when you're 83, that means that 13 years later, when you turn 96, you're celebrating a third bar mitzvah. So this is Saul's third bar mitzvah today. So Saul, Mazal Tov on this third bar mitzvah. I'm pretty certain we've never celebrated a third bar mitzvah here at Temple Beth Shalom. So this is really a momentous occasion for what? Never? Not that I can remember. At the end of Parshat Breshit, Saul, which we read last Shabbat, the Torah goes through a long genealogical list, and it tells us of all the incredibly long lifespan of some of our ancestors. Adam, the very first human being, lived to be 930. Seth, Adam's son, lived to be 912, but Methuselah, lived to be 969 years old, the oldest person to ever live in the history of humanity. And guess what, Saul? You're on your way to catching up, because Saul is now 96, which means that he's 10% of the way to reaching the age that Methuselah was when he died, and that is quite an impressive feat. But it is often said of Methuselah, that although he was the oldest person in the Hebrew Bible, he may have also been the saddest person in the Hebrew Bible, because the Torah doesn't tell us anything about Methuselah. All it tells us is that he was born, he became a father, and he died. And it doesn't even tell us that he was a good father. In his nearly 1,000 years of living, he didn't do one single thing that the Torah thought was worth recording. Not a single thing. All we know about him was that he was born and he died. And Saul, in only 10% of Methuselah's time on earth, you have made a far more profound impact on this world than he ever could. As I have mentioned on this bima before, in my time at Temple Beth Shalom, I think Saul has missed maybe 3 or 4 services. And if Saul isn't here, I freak out and I make sure to check with Marla to make sure that he's okay. And one of those times that Saul was not here recently was just a few weeks ago. He was in New York to celebrate his granddaughter Marissa's birthday. And I know how guilty you felt about missing shul, but you also knew it was very important to celebrate with your family. And Saul, so much of being Jewish is about juggling competing priorities and obligations and figuring out which mitzvah is most important to perform at any given moment. And you have my rabbinic permission. You absolutely made the right choice by skipping shul to spend that Shabbat with your family. And I know how proud you are of all of your children, Saul, Mitchell and Neil and Marla and all of your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. But I know that at this moment, right now, you are especially proud to be the father of the president of Temple Beth Shalom. Marla told me that Saul checks in with her literally every day, sometimes multiple times a day, to see what he can do to help her. And that's remarkable, but it's not at all surprising, Saul. And I was so touched to be on the bima just a few weeks ago with you and your entire family and your many grandchildren and great-grandchildren, or as many as could be here, as you all signed a letter in the Torah scroll as part of our Tikkun Torah project. And you stood here, and I was watching you stand here as the grandfather of this incredible family dynasty, and it was truly a remarkable thing to see. And I just want to share one very personal note. A few weeks ago, just the day before all of this terrible stuff started happening in Israel, it was Hoshana Rabbah, which is the end of Sukkot, when you beat the willows into the ground. And I was here in our sanctuary for our early morning service with Saul, and Saul beat the willows into the ground, and then I went straight from the sanctuary to our preschool, where I beat the willows into the ground with our students, including with Saul's great-grandson, Madden, who was here today. And I just couldn't believe it. I had come from doing Hoshana Rabbah with a 96-year-old to doing it with a 4-year-old in the span of just a few minutes. It was truly one of the most touching moments, Ledor Vador moments that I have experienced as a rabbi. And it was amazing, Saul, because it clicked with me that you have 4 generations worth of your family here at Temple Beth Shalom, and all of them, from the oldest to the youngest, have a deep and profound connection to our tradition, and that's because of the beautiful example and the precedent that you have set for your family. And in 96 years, Saul, I truly mean it, you have accomplished far more than Methuselah accomplished in his 969 years. So, Saul, I'm now going to bless you in the words of our tradition. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine a light upon you and be gracious towards you. May God show you kindness and grant you peace. And we all say, Amen. Let's wish Saul a mazel tov together. Simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu, yehelanu, yehelanu. Ulechol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulechol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulechol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulechol Yisrael. He wants to add one thing.
Most of the credit belongs to my wife.
Amen, amen, amen. And the family very intentionally chose to come here to sign a letter in the Torah. It was your mom's birthday, right? Because it was Mimi's birthday on that day. And even though she wasn't here for that Torah signing physically, she was absolutely here in spirit. So I'm so glad you added that, Saul, and Mazal Tov again.
Ya'amod Una Mendel ben Avram Lalia.